Welcome back, Left Reckoners. David Griscom here, and we're going to be talking today about something that we talk about a lot on this program, which is free speech in the state of Texas. And we have a guest on the program, somebody whose work I greatly admire, and I wish we were having on the program to talk about other things, including his excellent book on the history of Texas radicalism. But today we have to talk about something pressing and current. Tom has been let go from his university work. Tom, could you tell everybody what has just happened to you?
I have been summarily terminated from my tenured position teaching history at Texas State University. The grounds in the letter from the provost were for jeopardizing the health and safety of the university community. And this relates to a online talk I gave the Sunday before last. Oh, the time's kind of blurred together since this has happened. On online Sunday morning, as part of a revolutionary socialism conference. It was on my own time. I gave that talk from my office here at home, and I did not do it in any capacity as a employee of Texas State University. That was exercising my free speech.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, could you just talk about, for people who are less familiar with like a university system, as a tenured professor, I mean, what, rights are you supposed to enjoy with that? What is the reason for that system? And also, if you could get into a little bit this distinction between, representing the university or speaking as a private citizen.
Yes. I was granted tenure based on my academic scholarship, which was the book that you referenced, Toward a Cooperative Commonwealth, as well as other articles I have published and reviews of books, interviews with other historians. Also based on my teaching performance, I have received positive teaching evaluations throughout my time at Texas State, which began in the fall of 2017, and also my service to the university. So based on all of those factors, I mean, tenure is a long process. It's a 6-year process. It's basically, are you measuring up to get tenure? And then what the tenure is supposed to be, give you an amount of academic freedom to, not to then neglect your duties as a teacher and as a scholar, but to allow you to pursue topics of history without facing any type of rebuttal. And if you are found in violation of that, something like neglecting of your teaching responsibilities, no longer publishing and no longer engaging in the academic field of history, there at Texas State, there is a formal review process of that to remove someone from tenure. And that was not followed at Texas State.
I mean, so I mean, beyond, just like your personal experience with this, I mean, what kind of precedent does this set? I mean, people have seen some of like the articles about your statements, it really is nothing that is like outside of the realm of norms for like, speaking at a conference like that. I think it's 100% your free speech right to be able to engage in that kind of speech. What kind of precedent does something like this set, not just for, Texas State University or Texas universities, but just, higher education in general?
Yes, it sets a very chilling and dangerous precedent, not only, like you said, not only at Texas State and across the state of Texas, but across the entire country. Here in an unprecedented manner, without following any means of due process, university president has terminated a tenured professor. And so I heard, just faculty at Texas State, they're frightened. When I talked to a reporter for the student newspaper, the University Star, yesterday, there were other faculty members that spoke to him, but they all did so anonymously. I mean, that right there speaks to something that here, this is freedom. It's supposed to be freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and that tenured professors don't feel comfortable talking to the student newspaper. They feel they have to do so anonymously. And then it sets a precedent from around the country. If these norms and procedures are not going to be followed, it's very chilling.
Tom, I'm not trying to butter you up, but I'll just say, I'm in Austin. I know a lot of people who are engaged in political work in the state, and people who have taken classes with you speak very highly of you. And again, this is somebody who is not even associated with Texas State University. That's just how far your reputation goes. One of the things that is kind of shocking about this isn't something that is originating with, I don't know, like a student complaint or something like that. This is an outside individual who is kind of, watching videos of professors trying to catch them in something that they can make into viral content, and with the intention, in my opinion, of, probably trying to get people fired. I mean, could you talk a little bit about, this aspect that you're now directly experiencing of universities and administrations, trying to put the interests or, basically listening to a bunch of people from outside of the system, outside of the community, and using that to make serious decisions like this.
Yes, this is another troubling aspect of my particular case, and then also what's happening to educators, all around the country and in Texas in particular, where one of the things we're trying to teach critical thinking and riddle reading skills and analytical thinking. And that's one of the things I'm trying to help my students understand with. Yes, we're very aware of social media and with the kind of some toxic culture that can exist on the internet, and trying to help students get through all that and understand, to formulate their own opinions and realize what true and accurate sources are. And here is the university kind of capitulating to a self-described fascist and anti-communist cult leader with very anti-Semitic statements. So that universities are supposed to be places of knowledge and learning and sharing ideas. It's not that everyone's supposed to agree, but you're supposed to be exposed to those different types of ideas. And that now it's nope, we must capitulate to this particular outside force, which has very extreme, undemocratic views.
Mm-hmm.
That's fascism is not democratic, any means whatsoever. And then that's what has, because they cited the conference recording.
Mm-hmm.
What happened exactly, don't know, but they did cite the conference recording. And so, and we know what the conference recording is referring to. So here that the university is what's supposed to be a bastion of learning and knowledge, a liberal institution in the classical sense of liberalism that includes what we can consider traditional conservatives and liberals, a place of sharing ideas. But now here it's capitulated to basically an online fascist grifter.
Yeah, just for the audience, for people who watch our Sunday episode, we talked about this person. We've covered them actually a few times on this program because this isn't the first time they've engaged in this kind of stuff. And just to put some meat on it, this is somebody who said, quote, "Everyone who died in the Holocaust chose to die in the Holocaust before they were ever born because they, quote, collectively wanted to understand the experience of ultimate oppression." Following that quote, they said, "That's why Hitler went to heaven." So I just want to make it abundantly clear that these are the kind of figures who are being placated by decisions like this. And I think it brings up very serious questions about, our democracy across the country, but specifically in places like Texas.
Yes. I've read that quote a few times now, but just even hearing you now, it just still gets me every time I hear it or read it. And, this is where, like you said, the placating, this type of a speech. So that speech is seen as free speech, but myself, and talking about a speech about organizing in a hypothetical situation to defend the people that person is attacking, that appears to have crossed a line. And that's what's troubling. We want to talk about empathy and helping people and looking out for each other and having a true democratic space on universities.
Yeah, and again, like people can go check it out for themselves. I think that what you're talking about is something that is 100% like you're right to be saying it, and the way it's been painted is, I think, has been completely ludicrous. I think it is very chilling. I think that's why there's been such a response from many people in support of you. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit more broadly about, like, this is not just one isolated event. This is something that we've now seen a kind of snowballing effect across the state when it comes to either university officials cracking down on free speech in their universities, to also just like government officials, like the governor of the state of Texas, the attorney general of the state of Texas, tweeting, mocking people. There's a young woman at Texas Tech who the governor was showing tweeting out photographs of her being arrested. I mean, we're reacting to like extreme overreaches from the government in this kind of gleeful way. And then again, as a citizen, as an educator, what is your kind of read on what we've been seeing over the past few months in the state of Texas when it comes to what I would categorize as a very severe free speech crackdown?
Yes, it is very chilling. I mean, elected politicians, no matter what party they represent, are supposed to represent the people of Texas, or federally, represent the people of the United States. And so that means protecting free speech, right to assembly, free press for everybody, regardless of what you believe of their opinions. And so now, that they've gone to this like selective free speech, selective protest is protected. It violates the very principles, of what this country was founded on, flawed as it was. But there was the promise of improvement and going forward, and it was something new at the time. Tomorrow's Constitution Day. It's time to defend the Constitution. Particularly talk about the Bill of Rights is what needs to be defended. And so, just thinking that those elected officials took an oath to defend the Constitution, and that includes the Bill of Rights. That's the Bill of Rights. That's the part we really want defended. And to see that's like you said, talking with the governor, putting the post about a woman being arrested for exercising her free speech and mocking it. That is it's chilling conduct by elected representatives, whatever their political persuasion to be. Then this is something different. Yes, we have disagreements. That's what a democracy is supposed to be. You have disagreements, and you open debate and discussion, and then you decide and elect it, and you win elections. But then once you're elected, you don't then use that authority to squash dissent, which is what we're seeing now. We're seeing a squashing of dissent, which is and that's why I believe, I'm not, like I said, I'm not the only case out there. I've become very public because of what happened, and it's the attention that it's drawn. But that's why I believe this case has drawn so much attention, because people see it for what it is, and it's very chilling. It's like, whoa, if this can happen to someone who had protections, the protection of tenure, not that it gave me free reign to do whatever I want. That was never the case. Texas State History Department has very clear and robust guidelines for keeping tenure. And so, like, if this can happen, and then what is the state of our democracy?
I think that's a really good point. Both inside and outside the university, I know plenty of people who are engaged in different kinds of work, without like outing them. I know a lot of people are very afraid to not just speak their mind, but to just kind of engage in like everyday activities, because they're afraid of these, kind of attacks on their employment, and also on their person. I think the environment in this state is becoming very, very stifling for free speech and for free expression. And I was curious, as a historian, if you could maybe tie this into any other events that we might have experienced in the state of Texas, because this isn't the first time that we've seen these kind of crackdowns before. It is something that we thought maybe we had buried, but I'm curious your perspective on that.
Yeah, sadly, there's a long history of repression in the United States. There's fabulous moments of triumphs of democracy and social movements and winning of rights. But there's throughout it all, there's been a history of repression, and that it's something that's just kind of people put back because we are images of the United States and what we think of our country. So yes, it is something we thought that we hopefully had left behind, but clearly it hasn't. I mean, you've seen from the Black Lives Matter protest, from environmental activists. Going back, I mean, specifically, you can go to the 1950s, during the reaction to the civil rights movement. You had the state of Texas passed a anti-communist law, where if you were a communist, you could not run for public office or hold a government job. That eventually was the Supreme Court eventually came in and got rid of that. But going back throughout Texas history, I mean, you go to the populist movement with the People's Party, a genuine working class and middle class movement of people looking for true economic reform and around political and economic demands brought together poor black and white farmers, and which was kind of the last true threat to the two-party system we've had in the United States. And that was based in Texas. Texas. I mean, Texas is understandably thought of a place of social conservatism, but it's been a place of economic radicalism, working class based economic radicalism. And that's where the true threat comes, when they're like, oh, you're talking about undermining their profit driven system. And so here you had the People's Party using the measures of the ballot to bring about a radical change in the economic system of the United States. And it was severely repressed, violently repressed. So you had assassination of newspaper editors, public speakers, beaten up by the supporters of James Hogg, the Democratic governor at the time. And then you get to the socialist movement in the early 1900s, the Socialist Party of Texas. Again, I sometimes ask my students, I was like, when you go think about the early 1900s and what state do you think had the largest socialist party? And they put four good guesses. They say New York or California or Massachusetts, places we think of traditional liberal states. And I was like, those are very good guesses, but they're incorrect. And and those states did have large socialist parties. The largest, Oklahoma, was number one. No, and Oklahoma was number one in terms of the actual members, card carrying members of the Socialist Party, and percentage of its population. Number two was Texas, having the largest Socialist Party in the early 1900s. And that was percentage of a population. And then when it comes to actual numbers, it was about 5 or 6. So, became a real challenge. And they were changing the politics of the time, when most of them were focused on prohibition. But these poor farmers were facing real economic challenges. And so they made land reform the issue. And then they too were repressed. The leader of the one of the leaders of the Socialist Party, an Irish American, Tom Hickey, was cidnapped by Texas Rangers and federal marshals, held incognito where no one knew where he was for a few days. The Rebel, which was the socialist newspaper at a little old Hallettsville, Texas, was the third largest socialist newspaper in the country. And it was the very first newspaper repressed by the Espionage Act. And so stifling of free speech. So unfortunately, we've seen this in Texas before, and across the country. And like you said, we'd hoped we'd kind of left that behind and we'd move forward to a less repressive environment, but it seems that there are those seeking to bring that back.
No, I mean, it's very worrying. And as you know, I highly suggest people read your book on this. And I would also just note that one of the things that was notable about the repression against the Socialist Party is that it was swift, and it happened very quickly. And I think that that's something that we should all pay attention to right now. I wanted to ask before we let you go, Tom, and I really appreciate your time. And I really hope that maybe once things cool down a little bit, we can get you on to go in depth into a lot of these other topics as well. But are there any ways that people can kind of look out for you and support you during this process?
Yes, my union has Texas State Employees Union. I'm also a member of the American Association of University Professors. Has put out a petition as well as the organization I'm a member of, Socialist Horizon. They both have petitions helping with my case. There's a GoFundMe that just feels weird. I mean, there's so many other causes that need donations too, but that sadly, unfortunately, that's become like my family's lifeline now, being cut off from employment. So yes, I mean, there's the petitions, GoFundMe. I tell people, join your union. That's what you can do. We need to empower ourselves. So join the union part of. So for my my former co-workers across the state, employees of the state of Texas, join the Texas State Employees Union. If you're in academia, join the American Association of University Professors. And just if you've thought about joining a protest and getting out there, but you're thinking, okay, there's other people taking care of that, I support them. It's time to organize and to join in the struggles, whether it's for helping trans liberation, fighting against ICE. If Palestine's dear to your heart, I mean, get out there and oppose this genocide. Just participate, and it's time. This moment has been thrust upon ourselves. I mean, whether we think about things in history and we read about the civil rights movement, we read about the triumphs and tragedies of the labor movement, and we read those histories and we're inspired by them. And we're like, wow, what would it have been like to live in those times? Well, it's upon us now. And I don't think the people that were part of those movements, historic movements that we look to and admire, necessarily thought that they were going to be part of history. And then this was their time, and what they went through would be something that we'd be talking about 100 years or so later. We're at that moment now. And so it's time to become actively engaged and to use our rights. Because I used to always say, you got to use your rights or you're going to lose your rights. I was using my rights, and then here I've lost them. So now we have to not just use them, but we have to actively defend our rights. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Tom, thank you so much. And, it's very inspiring to see you taking on this fight head on. We'll have links below for ways for people to support and look out for you. And, always welcome on this program. We hope to speak to you very soon.
Thank you so much. It was great being on the program.